Good, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are connecting from. I've seen that we have people from different parts of the world, and this session is going to take us almost 2 hours, and I will cover the basics of Google Earth Engine, and I will look at the JavaScript API, application programming interface, and accessing data in Google Earth Engine, how you can export images, and spectral indices in Google Earth Engine. So we hope that we'll be able to cover all this during the time that we are meeting. And so a brief introduction of myself. I am Dickson Mbeya. I am based in Blantyre, Malawi, and I am a cartographer and a biodiversity informatician. I work with Malawi University of Science and Technology as a cartography technician. I've been working there for the past 7 years, and I have conducted or done a number of projects in Google Earth Engine, and I hope that the knowledge that I gained through my experience, you'll find it useful for your own purposes. So you can also introduce yourself in the chat by just stating your name and maybe if you're working, where you're working, and where you're connecting from. So you can just type in the chat so that you get to know who is here. So just a few rules to observe, that we'll have to switch off our videos and our mics if we're not speaking, and we can post questions in the chat, and I will tend to them during break time, possibly after now or so. But if you can't hear me, if you've lost my sound, feel free to highlight. Okay. Now we have from the interest that we've shown and what we had indicated when we were registering for this session. We indicated that we would want to, most of us would like to learn Google Earth Engine for the first time. So most of us are learning Google Earth Engine for the first time, and some of us maybe would want to advance our knowledge. So as I had indicated, this session is targeted for beginners, which means that you don't have any background in Google Earth Engine, but at least I expect that you have some background in remote sensing, because we'll be talking about images, and I hope that you have some background. But if you don't have a background in remote sensing, please let me know. You can just type in the chat. Okay. Okay, let me just see who is here. Okay, great. Great. Welcome all. All right, so what is Google Earth Engine? Google Earth Engine is not Google Earth Pro. I know most of the people are familiar with Google Earth Pro, and some confuse Google Earth Engine with Google Earth Pro. So Google Earth Pro allows you to access high-resolution images, satellite images, as base maps, and you can fly into any parts of the world, any part of the world, and explore. But Google Earth Engine is a cloud computing platform which allows you to do a number of analysis for remote sensing data, not just remote sensing data, but also you can work with feature collections or vector data, but most largely is being used for remote sensing data. And Google Earth Engine is a platform that allows you to do your analysis or to process satellite imagery or remote sensing data without the need for you to download the images. So some of us are familiar with the workflow of remote sensing or data analysis or processing, where you have to download images from a geoportal, whether USGS, Earth Explorer, Copernicus data ecosystem, or another geoportal, and then you load that data in your desktop GIS and you perform a number of pre-processing steps. Then you process your data depending on the goal or the purpose of your analysis. And then you get the results and you present the results as a map or whatsoever. But Google Earth Engine allows you to do the very same things without the need for you to download data. So there is no need for you to download images, and you process images through their application programming interface, whether Python or JavaScript API, and then all you download is an output, a result. So you download the result and not the raw images. And the other benefit is the processing. Processing is not limited to your or tied to your computer abilities. So you agree with me that remote sensing data processing requires a good computer that has good memory, space, etc. But sometimes when we are processing data for a large study area, you discover that it takes time and for you to process the images. But you see, when you're working in Google Earth Engine, you're not limited to your computer's capabilities. So the processing itself is not actually taking place in our computers. On your computer, you are using Google's cloud resources, so resources provided by Google Earth Engine. So you're using their infrastructure to run to perform your analysis. So when you just hit the run button, you can shut down your computer and you get the results. So because the processing is not taking place on our computer. So what I'm presenting here is just a simple workflow in Google Earth Engine where you access Google's cloud sources and a huge data catalog with petabytes of data, and Google Earth Engine servers you access through your computer, whether a JavaScript application programming interface or Python programming interface, application programming interface. And then you write your code, and then you run the analysis, you get an output which you can then load in your GIS software for you to be able to create a final map for presentation. So one of the things that I just need to mention, despite all these capabilities of Google Earth Engine, it's not good for cartography. So when it comes to creating a final product as a map, you need to export the product and then to Google Drive, and then you download it, then you load in your computer, in your desktop GIS. Then you can add all those other map elements, and then to make it well presentable, and then you include it in your report or your publication, etc. So that's a background of Google Earth Engine and a very brief introduction. But what we need to to remember from this is the analysis is not taking place on your machine. So you are not limited. Number two, you are not downloading data. So you are not downloading any data. You are not downloading data. You're not downloading images for you to process them. And the other thing is you are not limited by the performance of your computer. So you're not limited by that. The other thing is because you are not limited by the performance of your computer, you can perform large scale analysis in Google Earth Engine. That's an entire country. You can create a composite image for an entire country, and it's something that where you have a number of scenes for a country. But if you do that for the traditional way, downloading data, you need to download as many images, and then it will take you time for you to perform or just to come up with a composite image for a country, for instance. But when you are working in Google Earth Engine, no, it's something that is really simple. Just a few lines of code, and then you get the output. So Google Earth Engine is available as a free and also a commercial platform. So for researchers, scientists, research, government agencies, it's available for free, but you can also access the commercial aspect of it if you would want to do some things that are not provided or computations that are not provided for by the free version. But if it's for research, it's free, available for free. So you just need to sign up, and I shared the link to the tutorial for signing up. I hope by now we've all signed up to Google Earth Engine. We have an account that is running, because in this session we will not go back into how to sign up because I shared that prior to this session for us to make sure that we maximize our time and spend a lot of time writing code. So if you have any questions about Google Earth Engine, etc., you can just type in the chat, then I'll attend to them to later. So let me switch to the platform itself. Okay. Okay, so you see just okay, so you when you open you search for Google Earth Engine on the internet, and you open earthengine.google.com, you land on this page, and you see it says a planetary scale platform for Earth science data and analysis, and Google's cloud infrastructure provides us this platform. And you see that in Google Earth Engine, you can access data, create code, and then perform analysis that is applicable to solve real-world problems. And you'll be able to access a lot of data sets. So historic imagery. If you go, for instance, if you go on data set, you should be able to open to go on Google Earth data catalog. And in Google in Earth Engine data catalog, you'll be able to see um, you'll be able to access a number of data sets, or the popular public, or the popular images, satellite data, which is available to the public. And you can access it also grouped by themes, okay, climate and weather data, and then images, Landsat, Sentinel, MODIS, high resolution imagery, geophysical data, and a lot of other data sets. So, for instance, if I would go on Landsat, and you see that the Landsat collection provides us with data set, different processing levels, which are known as, yeah, so different processing levels. And we find also data from different missions. For instance, you have Landsat 9 data, okay, Landsat 8, Landsat 7 data, and also indicated by the ranges in terms of availability. And so, for instance, Landsat 9 available from 2021 to present, Landsat 8 data available from 2013 to present, Landsat 7 data available from 1999 to 2021, and Landsat 5 available between 1984 2012, Landsat 4, Landsat 1. So you have all this data available in Earth Engine data catalog, and you can access it. And when you click on one of it, you also find data available presented in different processing levels. So tier 1, tier 2, okay, top of atmosphere, surface effect, and so on. We want raw images depending on the kind of analysis. If you check Sentinel, you also find that the number of Sentinel datasets, depending on the Sentinel mission, Sentinel 1, 2, 3, 5, okay, even derived data set from Sentinel. So, for instance, the global world cover. So the global world cover or dynamic world, um, cloud score, cloud probability. So you have all this data available in Earth Engine. If I go on Sentinel-2, for instance, and you see that there's a description of this data set, but also provision of data at different processing levels. So that's just an example of what we have in Earth Engine in terms of data set. So apart from uh, the advantage of having a great or robust processing power, but also you have number of data set in Earth Engine, which you can access, and you'll see that accessing such data set is not really difficult. You can access it very easy. Okay. Having looked at the data set and having looked at the data set that is available, it's now time that we move to the processing platform itself. So if you would search Earth Engine and you should be able to Google Earth Engine and open the link and then be able to land on a page like this one, if you can do that. And then from here, we will go on code editor. Then with that, we'll be able to launch Earth Engine JavaScript API. But maybe before we do that, let me just play this. Yeah, so that's just a short video that highlights what Earth Engine is and its capabilities. Um, so I hope we have managed to open this page. And if we open, so you, as what I was saying, that Earth Engine is available for commercial and non-commercial purposes. So the first thing is, am I supposed to pay for Earth Engine? Somebody would have that question, for instance. Do I pay for Earth Engine? Like we know that if I would want to access a GIS remote sensing desktop software, I need to pay for it. But do I pay for Earth Engine? And I highlighted that Earth Engine is available for non-commercial use if you're using it for research or if you're a government agency, but it's also available for commercial. Um, so commercial purpose. Okay, so Earth Engine for commercial use available in Google Cloud, and you have all those. So you have all that information, and for non-commercial use, Earth Engine is also available for non-commercial and research use, and um, you have description of who qualifies for non-commercial. So you can read what is provided on this page to be able to see whether you qualify for non-commercial use or you need commercial um, to access the commercial product. So if you are not eligible for, for to access or to use Earth Engine free of charge, then you can go via the commercial. Um, so they provide example cases, commercial versus non-commercial. So example of non-commercial activities, trainers or developers, organizations offer training. So education institutions or students for research. So commercial purposes would be if you are monetizing the services that you build on top of Earth Engine, then you need to pay for use. Um, they also provide descriptions of whether your work is research or your work is operational. So all that you can access on this page. But uh, if we've opened our if we on this page, we would go on code editor and okay platform, then go on code editor. You'll be able to have a blank uh, screen with a map. So let me just get confirmations that we are on this page, and uh, yeah, so let me get confirmation that we are on this page, and that's important, so that we should be on the same page. Because we want to start now writing code and be able to access data. Okay, just check the chat. Yes, okay, great. Fine. So what I'll do now is I'll share with you. Let me just expand this side. I'll share with you um, my script. But before I do that, I will just give a brief introduction to the interface. So what you have here, what you have, so what you have here is a JavaScript API, application programming interface, as I said, that you can access Earth Engine through Python or through JavaScript API. We are going to work in JavaScript API, and this is a JavaScript application programming interface provided by Earth Engine. And you have the blank screen. That's where you write your code, and um, then you have the map where you display the maps or etc. the images that you're working on, and the output. And this side you have inspector tab. So if you want to inspect an element on a map, to inspect anything on a map, like in desktop GIS, it would be like identify. And then you have the console. That's where you, whatsoever you write, you print anything. That's where it's going to be printed. If you are familiar with programming, it means you know what printing is in programming. But even if you are not a computer programmer, you can, starting to work with Earth Engine is easier. Tasks, if you would want, let's say you are exporting something and you would want to you want to export something. When you run the code, then you complete, uh, you export something, you'll be able to see that in the task. And then whether it's completed or it fails, you'll be able to see it in the task. And at this side, you have scripts. So under script, that's where you'll be able to access what you're writing. So under script, that's where you'll be able to access what you're writing. Let's say the script that I'm writing now, the script that we are going to work with is under webinars, then G for beginners folder, and the script name is G for beginners JS. So, and if you can access other scripts written by others, which you can only read and not, you don't have you don't have the rights to write. You can also create a repository, so just to organize your work. So, and then initially in a repository, you can have a folder, and in your folder, you will have a file. So just to organize your work. And then you can access the methods provided for by Earth Engine, used through Docs tab, and then you can access the assets. So whatever you are, if you want to import anything to Google Earth Engine, you can import even images. You can import shape files, now as feature collections, to Earth Engine. And within the assets, you can also create folders. So these so in addition to that, you have these buttons here. You would want to share the code. So if I want to share the code with someone, I would go get link, etc., and then copy the code and send this URL to someone. And then when somebody clicks on this URL, they are going to open the code that I have. So that's also important, the importance of Earth Engine. So you can, in terms of reproducibility. So what I've written, it can be reproduced by someone else. So that's the importance of it. I can share what I've written, and then somebody just changes the study area, and then they're able to get the same thing done without the need for them to edit the entire script. And again, another thing is, so you can share the link, get the link, you can save your work, and then you can also run the code to get an output, the research. If you want to clear the code, if you would want to create, so you can also create Earth Engine applications. So under apps, you'll be able to see the applications that you have created. You can create a new application, etc. So you've done your analysis and you want to share your work as in form of an Earth Engine app, so you can create a new Earth Engine application. You'd want to search for places and you'd want to search for data sets. So you can browse the data catalog that I showed you before right away here using this search field. So if you would want to say Sentinel, for instance, Sentinel, okay, and hit enter, and you would see that I have everything that is Sentinel displaying here. So I can explore the data set. If I wanted to search for a place, for instance, Lusaka, Zambia. So I wanted to search for Lusaka. Okay, so Lusaka, Zambia. Okay, and then my map zooms in to Lusaka, for instance. Okay, so you can browse places. You can also browse the data catalog. If I want to go to user guide for help or Q&A, developers discussion group, etc., you can access using this help button, and this side gives you. You can also send coded data feedback, etc. So basically, this is a brief introduction to the interface. And what you have, let's say here is you have a map, which is you can switch to terrain map. Okay, remove the terrain map, so street map, or so you have a street map by default. Add the terrain to the street map, or you can send this to satellite base map, and then you can remove the labels, switch on the labels. Okay. So I'll go back to the street map. These controls are just for zooming in, zooming out. This one is for panning. Okay, moving your map. These ones are for you if you would want to add features, add stuff. Okay, so I'll just delete this one. Okay, add a marker point, draw a line, draw a shape, or draw a rectangle. So you can zoom out, zoom in and zoom out. So go full screen, okay? And then you can exit full screen. Okay. So if I just press escape and I exit full screen. Okay. So what I'll do now is I'll share with you the script that I have developed, which we can, okay.